My MIL sent out baby shower invitations labeling me as the carrier and herself as the grandmother who will raise him right. When I called her, she said, "Oh, it's just for fun, you're too sensitive." My husband told me not to make it a thing. So I designed my own invites, had a separate event the same day, and let her show up to an empty venue with a photographer she paid for. My name's Holly. I'm 31, I live in Charleston, South Carolina, and I'm about to tell you what happens when you marry into a family where the mother-in-law thinks you are just a temporary guest in your own life. It started when I got pregnant with our first child. My husband Ryan and I had been married for 3 years. We'd been trying for a while, and when I saw that positive test, I cried. I cried happy tears. I called Ryan at work, and we celebrated that night. He was excited. He kept kissing my stomach like I was made of gold. For a little while, it felt perfect. And then we told his mother, Janice. That's when the cracks started showing. She came over for dinner. I made baked chicken, mashed potatoes, and roasted vegetables. I even pulled out cloth napkins, trying to make it special. Ryan told her with this big proud smile, "Mom, you're gonna be a grandma." Her eyes lit up, but not at me. She stood up, hugged Ryan, and said, "I just knew you'd give me a boy first. You always were my strong one." Then she turned to me and said, "Hope you're ready to take care of yourself. You're carrying my grandson now." I laughed a little, awkwardly, but her face stayed serious. That was month 1. By month 3, she was showing up to every doctor's appointment uninvited. She told the OB nurse she was co-parenting. She tried to sit in during ultrasounds, asked questions before I could, and once even told the tech, "Make sure the nose doesn't come out too flat." My side of the family has good profiles. Ryan thought it was funny. She's just excited. By month 5, she started sending me parenting books. All written in the 1980s. All passive-aggressive. Why modern moms are failing. Don't neglect grandma's role. The right way to raise boys. Then came the baby shower. One morning, she called me. Said she wanted to take the stress off my plate and host the whole thing. I said thank you. I told her I appreciated it. I didn't want to plan anything at 7 months pregnant. She said she'd take care of everything. All I had to do was show up. 2 weeks later, my friend Leah sent me a picture of the invitation she got in the mail. It looked fancy. Thick cardstock. Gold trim. But the words burned my eyes. "You're invited to a baby celebration. Honoring Janice Miller, the grandmother who will raise him right. Holly, the carrier." There was more. A little rhyme underneath. Babies are joy, babies are light, but it's grandma who teaches what's wrong and what's right. While Holly carries, we cheer from afar, for Janice will raise him to be a bright star. I stared at it for 10 minutes. I thought maybe it was a joke. A mistake. Something that slipped through. I called her. She picked up on the 3rd ring and sounded cheerful. "Oh, did you see the invite? Beautiful, right? I hired a local designer, real expensive, but worth it. Why does it say I'm the carrier?" She laughed. "Oh, Holly, come on. Don't be so sensitive. It's funny. You're the one carrying him. It's not an insult. You called yourself the one who's going to raise him." "Well, I mean, I am going to be around a lot. Might as well lean into it, right? Don't overthink it. You need to calm down." I hung up. I was shaking. I showed it to Ryan. He didn't laugh. He just looked tired. "Can we not make this a thing?" She didn't mean it that way. She called me the carrier, Ryan. I know. Just let her have her moment. It's one party. That's when something changed in me. It wasn't just one party. It was every time she talked over me. Every time she treated me like I didn't matter. Like I was just a delivery system. A surrogate. Nothing more. So I made a decision. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just started making some quiet phone calls. My best friend Sasha helped me rent a venue, smaller, prettier, right by the river downtown. I sent out new invitations. Simple ones. With my name. No poems. No gold trim. Just, Come celebrate Holly and baby James, hosted by friends who know what a mother is. We scheduled it for the exact same day and time as Janice's event. I didn't tell Ryan. I didn't tell anyone in his family. I only invited people who actually cared about me. The day came. Janice was at her big, decorated hall across town, complete with a professional photographer and dozens of chairs lined up for a crowd that would never come. My party? It was full. Every table was taken. People laughed, hugged me, brought gifts, told me how proud they were. My old college roommate flew in from Chicago. My cousin, who I hadn't seen in 2 years, drove 5 hours. At one point, Sasha came up to me and said, "She just texted me. She's at her venue and freaking out. She brought a photographer and everything. There's no one there but her and the balloon guy." I took a bite of cake and said, "She'll be fine. She's the one raising him, remember?" That night, she called me. "You humiliated me," she screamed. "You sabotaged my event." "I had my own event," I said calmly. "You weren't invited." Ryan didn't talk to me for a full day. When he finally did, all he said was, "Why would you do that?" I looked him dead in the eyes and said, "Because I'm the mother, not the carrier. And if you can't defend me from your own mom, I'll defend myself." That should have been the end. But then Janice sent me a letter in the mail. 4 pages. Handwritten. Titled, "Guidelines for Raising My Grandson." Page 1. No electronics until age 5. Page 2. Daily prayer routines non-negotiable. Page 3. I will have him 1 weekend a month minimum. Page 4. Let me know if you're overwhelmed. I'll step in permanently. She underlined the word permanently. So I called a lawyer. And then things really started to escalate. I didn't show the letter to Ryan right away. I needed to be smart about it. Calm. But I made copies, scanned it into my email, saved it on a flash drive, gave a copy to Sasha. I wasn't being paranoid. I was preparing. Because when someone tells you they'll step in permanently, you don't ignore that. When I finally showed Ryan the letter, he didn't read past page 2. He threw it on the counter and said, "She didn't mean it like that. She underlined permanently, Ryan. She's dramatic." I stared at him. I really looked at him. This man I thought would protect me. The man I married. She doesn't respect me. "And you're letting her." He didn't answer. A few days later, Janice showed up at our house without warning. She knocked once and came in with her spare key before I could even reach the door. I was in the middle of folding baby clothes. She walked in like she owned the place. Sat down on the couch. Looked around like she was judging the paint on the walls. Then she smiled. "So, have you thought about names?" "We already picked one," I said without looking up. "James." She wrinkled her nose. "Too boring." "What about Jasper? Or Gunnar?" "No, well," she said, crossing her legs. "You'll change your mind once you see him. You'll know he needs someone strong to lead him." That's when I stood up. "You need to leave." She blinked. "Excuse me? You walked in here without permission. You've made it clear you don't see me as a mother, just some kind of inconvenience. I want space. And I mean that." She stood, slowly. Her smile was gone. "I will be involved in his life," she said. "Whether you like it or not." I called the locksmith that night. Changed the locks. Didn't tell Ryan. He found out the next week when his key didn't work. He was furious. "You went too far." "No. I did what you should have done months ago." The cracks in our marriage weren't cracks anymore. They were wide, open gaps. He started sleeping in the guest room to give me space, but I knew what it meant. He didn't want to face me. He didn't want to choose. Then one day, Sasha called me. "You're not gonna like this," she said. Janice had created a Facebook group, a private one, called Saving Baby James. It had over 30 members. Some were her church friends. Some were neighbors. One was even Ryan's aunt. And every post was about me. "She's unstable. She's isolating him. I worry for that baby. She doesn't respect family traditions. She won't let me bond with him. I fear for his development. I saw screenshots of it all. Then I saw the post she made the day after my baby shower. Holly made a public mockery of our family. But I'll be patient. God has a plan. And I will not let my grandson grow up in a house of bitterness and dysfunction. He deserves better. And I will be ready when that time comes. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I got a lawyer. I explained everything. The invitations. The shower. The letter. The Facebook group. The threats. He didn't even blink. She's building a case. She's laying groundwork for a custody claim. She can't, I said. Can't she? He paused. In South Carolina, a grandparent can petition for visitation under certain conditions. If she can convince a judge you're mentally unstable or unfit, she might try. I felt sick. I told Ryan. He didn't believe it. She would never, she just wants to be involved. I showed him the Facebook posts. He got quiet. Really quiet. Then he said, she's still my mom. I said, I'm the one raising your son. Pick a side. He walked out. I didn't wait around. I started gathering everything. Every message. Every voicemail. Every social media post. I started journaling everything she did. Every time she showed up uninvited. Every passive-aggressive comment. I gave it all to my lawyer. Then I went to my OB/GYN and had her write a letter saying Janice's presence at appointments was causing stress and anxiety. I was ready. And then Janice showed up at my baby class. She sat in the back row. Didn't say a word. Just watched me. Afterwards, I asked the instructor if she'd invited her. She said she was the guardian, the instructor said. I thought maybe you were sick. That night, I called her. Stop showing up where you're not welcome. Stay away from my son. Her voice was calm. Are you sure you want to start a war you can't win? I didn't answer. But in my mind, I said, you already started it. And I wasn't going to lose. A week passed without any contact from Janice. Not a text. Not a call. Not even a drive-by glance through our windows. I thought maybe she'd finally gotten the message. Then I got served. A knock on the door at 9:30 a.m. I waddled over, 8.5 months pregnant by then, and opened it to find a man in a black polo holding a white envelope. Are you Holly Becker? Yes, you've been served. He walked off without a word. Inside was a petition. Janice was suing for pre-birth visitation rights. I didn't even know that was a thing. She claimed that I was intentionally isolating her from her unborn grandchild, citing emotional distress from being excluded from events and medical appointments. She accused me of being hostile, unstable, and uncooperative, and that she had reason to believe I would attempt to alienate her grandson from his rightful grandmother. She wanted a court order to guarantee access to my baby before he was even born. I dropped the paper. My hands were shaking. My whole body was shaking. Ryan came home later that evening and saw the envelope on the table. He picked it up, skimmed the top, and turned to me like he'd just been punched in the gut. She really did it, he whispered. She did, I said. And she used your silence as a weapon. He sat down, quiet for a long time. Then he said, we need to talk. I'd been waiting for this conversation for months. But it wasn't the one I thought we'd have. She came to me 2 weeks ago, he said. Said she was worried. Said you were spiraling. Said I needed to be ready, in case something happened. She made me promise to call her if you started acting out. I stared at him. You didn't think to tell me that? I didn't think she'd go this far, he said. I stood up. She's trying to take my baby. She's calling me unstable. And you're just now telling me she planted this weeks ago. I didn't know what to do. You protect your family. That's what you do. He left again that night. This time, I didn't ask where he went. The court date was scheduled for a hearing, a pre-motion, basically. Just enough for a judge to decide whether there was any merit to her request. My lawyer came with binders, emails, texts, screenshots. the Facebook group posts, the original baby shower invite. We sat across from Janice and her lawyer in a narrow county courtroom. She wore pearls. Her face was smug. She smiled at me as I sat down. I didn't smile back. The judge, an older man with thick glasses, glanced over the paperwork for about 15 minutes before speaking. I see no legal basis for granting visitation rights for a child that has not been born, especially not when the petitioner has a documented history of hostility toward the mother. He looked directly at Janice. This is a misuse of the court's time. Motion denied. That should have been the end. But Janice wasn't the type to lose quietly. After the hearing, I found out from Sasha that she was still posting in that Facebook group. Her latest message? The courts won't help, but God will. And sometimes, mothers need to be rescued from themselves. That same night, someone called CPS. They showed up at our house with a tip about domestic instability and emotional abuse in the home. They wanted to do a welfare check. The social worker was polite. She said it was probably just a bad tip, but she had to document everything. Ryan finally broke. After they left, he stood in the middle of the living room and said, "She's gone too far. I'm sorry. I should have stood up sooner." I didn't say anything. I just walked into the nursery and sat in the rocking chair. I didn't trust him anymore. The next morning, Ryan drove to her house. He said he was going to tell her to back off for good, that he was cutting ties. He was gone for 6 hours. When he came back, he looked hollow. "She had pictures," he said, "from your baby shower. One someone took and sent her. She said she'd make sure I never saw my son again if I didn't keep her involved." I stared at him. "She's blackmailing you with photos of your pregnant wife at her own baby shower?" He nodded. "And you believe she can actually follow through?" He didn't answer. Because deep down, I think he knew she might try anything. But I was ready now. I had backup plans. I had protection orders in process. I had a new pediatrician who flagged Janice as a non-approved visitor. I had my OB write another statement. And I had one final thing Janice didn't expect. My mother. She hadn't been involved much. Lives in Tennessee. Quiet, old school. But when I called and told her everything, she said, "I'm on my way." She showed up with a suitcase and 2 pieces of advice. Don't let your enemy think she's still in control. Don't let a man sleep in your house if he can't protect his own wife. She meant it. And when Ryan came home that night, she was waiting on the porch. What she said next changed everything. When Ryan came home that night, my mother was sitting in one of the old rocking chairs on the porch. The sun was low, the sky pink and gold, but her face was made of stone. He walked up the steps slowly. Probably thought he could talk his way through her like he always tried with me. She didn't give him the chance. "I raised a daughter to know her worth," she said, her voice calm and low. "I see a woman breaking down in that house because the man who swore to protect her is too scared to cut the cord from his mother." Ryan opened his mouth, but she kept going. "You let her call your wife a carrier. You let her sue her. You let her sick CPS on her. You let her build a world where you get to be neutral while your wife drowns alone." He looked away. "She doesn't want me to pick sides." "No. She wants you to pick her. And you've been doing that since day one." He didn't come inside. He left again that night. And this time, I locked the door behind him for good. A week later, I gave birth. Just me, my mom, and Sasha in the hospital room. It was peaceful, calm, real. Little James came into the world screaming and perfect. I didn't tell Ryan until the next day. He came by the hospital, but I had already filled out the paperwork. Only my last name was on the birth certificate. He asked me if that was permanent. I said, "So is the damage." He cried. I didn't. I had spent 9 months alone in a marriage. I wasn't going to raise my son in the same loneliness. Janice tried to visit. The nurse at the desk stopped her. I had put her on the no-visit list. She argued, yelled, tried to say she had rights as a grandmother. Security escorted her out. She waited in the parking lot for 2 hours. I know because one of the nurses told me. I didn't go out there. The next week, I filed for full custody. Ryan could visit. But Janice? Not a chance. Her Facebook group tried to rally support again, but I had already reported it. Screenshots. Legal letters. Cease and desist. It was shut down within 72 hours. Then came the final nail. I mailed Janice a framed copy of her original baby shower invitation. Just the part where she wrote, Holly, the carrier Janice, the grandmother who will raise him right. I didn't include a letter. No message. No warning. Just that. Because now she had nothing to raise. Nothing to control. No room to play Grandma of the Year. No child to brag about in church. I heard later from a cousin that she still keeps that frame in her closet, hidden behind some Christmas decorations. She won't throw it out. Probably because it reminds her of how close she got and how badly she lost. As for Ryan, he tried to come back. He swore he saw it now. That he'd gone to therapy. That he understood. But understanding too late doesn't undo the silence. Understanding doesn't erase the nights I cried alone. The court hearings. The fear of losing my baby before I even met him. I let him see James. He gets visitation. But I'm the one raising him. Not her. Not them. Me. And every night I rock my son to sleep, I remind myself, I wasn't just the carrier. I was the one who carried us through hell and came out the other side.